Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we'll be reviewing this fully armored Mercedes. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Armor Max for giving me some time with this armored Mercedes. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check them out. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into it. So before we get into all of the cool armoring, I quickly want to talk about what is powering this particular Mercedes. It is a 4-liter V8 turbocharged that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 510 horsepower and then 538 pound-feet of torque. This is the 580 version of the GLE. So this is not the best camera view of what I'm going to be talking about, but this does come with radiator protection. You can kind of see it through the grille a little bit, but the biggest thing is if someone shoots something through the grille, it's not going to stop the car. That's the whole goal. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So in this video, I'm going to focus on some of what I will consider the cooler armoring elements. But for those of you that are versed in the armoring world, the glass on this car is a level 6, whereas the body armor on this is a level 5. The highest you can go is a level 7. And so you can see that the body and the glass, they're not quite the highest, but they're up there. So this is the best way for me to show this on video. So you can see stuff like this. If you kind of listen to it, it's a lot sturdier. Like, again, I review cars for a living. It's a lot sturdier sounding than what you get with a car from the factory. You just have that like plasticky ding when you knock on it. And so you can tell that it is armored. But again, if we actually take a few steps back, you'll notice that it doesn't look any different compared to a stock GLE, which I think is cool. Now, the next cool feature I'm going to show you guys is a partition that's been put in this. So we're going to pop open the hatch, and as you can see, we have this bulletproof partition. So you can see the glass here at the top. So there's still visibility out of the back, and then we have more armoring down below. And so you still have a usable cargo space here in the back. You can't fold down the seats anymore, obviously, but usable cargo space, and you still have the armoring, which is cool. And then the best part is because the armoring's there with the partition, it's not here on the hatch. So the hatch is still fully operable like normal. Now, some of you might be wondering why this hatch isn't armored, and that just comes down to client choice. They build things out to what the clients want, and so the client with this particular car decided that they didn't care about this being armored. They'd rather have a partition and just have a normal usable trunk. And the next part is the doors. So you guys probably can't see this on camera, but you know, with armored cars, the doors are always going to be heavier compared to a regular car door. But notice that you don't have any difference in terms of the look of the door itself. But notice that this addition here at the top with the trim has been added. And then you can see with the windows, I'll give you guys a look at the front windows for kind of a better look. With this particular car, the windows are not operable up and down for any of the windows except the driver window right here, which will open this up. So here's a better look at kind of what the whole product looks like. You guys can see here with the finish, and this particular door panel, it doesn't look any different as you can see compared to stock. But you will notice with all this armoring and everything, they do have to kind of add this addition right here, and you can see it comes down here as well. And it is made out of nice material, but this is kind of for the whole armored door setup so that it fits nicely, if that makes sense. But like I said, this particular window is operable. Anyways, we're going to turn this on. Ooh, fancy, fancy. Got the normal Mercedes stuff. Not going to focus too much on the interior. We'll kind of focus more on the driving in a moment. But this does have a sunroof, as you can see. And you're probably wondering, hey, this is a weak point for the car. This has this big panoramic sunroof. Someone could just jump on the car. And well, my answer is no, because this does not open anymore. So again, just like most of the windows in this car, doesn't open, and that's because it's fully armored. And again, I don't know if I can, like you guys can see there, it's solid as it gets. Wow, door's heavy. Don't skip arm day if you have an armored car. Let's set off in this Mercedes GLE that is fully armored. And the armoring process, again, it depends on the vehicle, the size and all that, but it will typically add, you know, 400 or 500 pounds to the weight. Again, depends on how much armoring you do and how big the vehicle is. And so it, you know, can change the driving dynamics with the vehicle. Now, when it comes to this particular Mercedes, you do feel the extra weight to an extent. Like it does feel a little bit heftier compared to a normal GLE, but it's not unwieldy, if that makes sense. It's still maneuvers well. The GLE is kind of the one to go for if you want a bigger Mercedes SUV and still have better handling, and it still handles pretty well. But you do, in the steering wheel at least, like I can tell with the steering, like I can feel the extra weight. But it's cool because this is the most G-Wagon feeling Mercedes that's not a G-Wagon. The armoring process makes a vehicle have that kind of same tank-like feel that you get in the G-Wagon, which I think is really cool. Also, the heads-up display here, you guys can probably see with the car. It's cool to see that. And this is actually my first time ever reviewing a GLE 580. I didn't even know they made this package, because I've reviewed the 450, the 53, 63, never the 580 though. So I guess this is kind of supposed to be the non-AMG but V8 powered GLE that, yeah, interesting packaging overall. Suspension is super comfortable. This has the adjustable air suspension, and again, with the armoring process, you can imagine, right, this stuff's gonna have a little bit more weight over it, but again, the GLE handles it well. It handles it really well. It doesn't get in the way. Like, here's a little bump. Like I think it does I think the suspension with the extra weight does a pretty good job of smoothing it out. Yeah, it's interesting. You get a little bit of kind of, that's a pretty dog. You get a little bit of floatiness with this version of the GLE. Normally, like the V8 powered GLEs, I'm kind of used to them being super sharp because they're AMGs. But this not being an AMG, it's interesting. It's very interesting, kind of how this all performs. Yeah, I'm doing my best to get like a whole full feel for everything with this. Yeah, I'd say the only I guess quote unquote downside with this again is you do feel the extra weight, but it's not like I'm already used to it with this, so it's not like it's that bad. Yeah, it's so interesting how this handles. This is a unique Mercedes, I will say that. I think there's probably a reason why I've never seen one of these at the dealership, because I think for the GLE it makes sense for it to have kind of like the sharper stuff, and if you want more floaty handling and everything like what this has, then probably the GLS would be the route to go with that. So yeah, to cap things off with this little driving review here with this Armored GLE, I think it drives really well. I actually really like this armoring package. I think this is, I know some people might like gawk at the whole hatch situation, but I think that actually is really smart. So you still have the protection, because I mean, like, here's the deal. If something actually happens, like, who cares if your groceries get shot up? Let's be real here, right? So I think it's really cool that you still have like a super usable hatch and cargo space, but then you still have the protection. Let me know what you guys think about that whole design detail, and let me know what you guys think about this GLE build, and then also the GLE 580, if you agree with me, this is just kind of a weird car.